guys, thanks for joining us for some more Real Talk Dog Talk. I'm Tori.
And I'm Barb.
For those of you who have joined us before, if you have any questions, comments, you can email us at realtalkdogtalk@yahoo.com.
And if you are a regular listener and you have been emailing us, we want to thank you for those emails. It really gives us a good idea of where to go with each podcast.
We hope that you get some time this weekend to get outside in this beautiful weather after you listen to the podcast, of course.
Right. Or you can listen to the podcast while you're mowing your yard.
Yeah, that's what headphones are for. Today we have Enzo again and Jim in the office helping us with our podcast. So far, not real productive.
You know, as we were setting up our podcast room, aka studio, I decided since our staff is of the four-legged nature, they needed to have their own space.
Yes.
So I went to the store and purchased a couple of dog beds for the staff we have here.
Very nice.
And neither one of them will use them.
No, they got a nice fluffy dog bed they could lay on and they're laying in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, they shoved it in the corner next to the plants, and now they are on the floor.
So
clearly they don't have good sense.
they don't. And rude.
Those dog beds are more comfortable than my bed at home.
Oh, no kidding.
So, well, they're out of luck.
I'll just take it. I'll use
Anyhow,
it.
yeah, well, if I come next time and that is on your bed, I'll understand why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mine now.
So recently I had someone talking to me about a dog that they're having problems with being destructive, and it's getting to the level that they are thinking about rehoming the dog. And, I'm pretty sure I'm going to offend a few people and step on some toes here, but I don't really believe in rehoming dogs unless there is like a seriously extreme situation, as in someone is in harm's way because of the temperament of a dog. That's a different situation, but when you have little behaviors with your dogs or big behaviors, I just feel like you have to be committed enough to work through them.
Yeah, and you got to figure out where that problem came from. Why is that problem happening in the first place?
Well, and I know, when my kids were growing up, they were naughty sometimes, and I didn't get rid of them.
Thank goodness. I'm really glad.
She ought to be.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, so that being said, we thought we would talk today a little bit about some things that you can do to kind of overcome the problem, and as Tori said, identify what is causing those problems.
Right. Because usually there is a reason for them acting that way. They're not just doing it to do it.
Right.
One
thing that I have said with raising my kids as well as dogs is chaos creates chaos.
Yes.
And if you have an environment that is very chaotic, oftentimes a dog does not really know how to cope with that.
Right.
They need instruction. They need to have some sort of rules or boundaries implemented. So
direction on what, where to go, how to handle
the goings on in the house, really.
Any of that, yeah.
And routine is also a really great thing with dogs. I mean, my dogs, when I'm going to work, it's just funny because as I'm gathering my stuff and getting everyone put away and shutting off lights and doing what I do, you can just see the dogs kind of settling down in their, place where they're going to be while I'm gone. And that's because they know it's time for me to leave. I'll be back later.
Yep. Your routine makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it really does. But we did want to talk about some of the causes on destructive behavior. And one thing Tori and I have been noticing with just dogs that we've observed either around her town or even out in the community, But sometimes what we see is very young people, like in the 10-year range, handling dogs that they really are not, what would I say? They aren't really appropriate to the size of the dog or even the energy level of the dog.
Yes. Which it's super important to supervise your kids when they're dealing with a dog, especially when it's a larger dog. I mean, anything could happen, and if you're not there or, within a close distance, there could be really big problems just because that kid doesn't know how to handle the situation, and the dog is just going to do whatever they feel is necessary because they're not sure either.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think when you're out with the dog as an adult, the dog is looking, you're the leader. You're the one that's going to be, the one that they're going to follow your lead. But when they're out with a kid, it's not really the same because they don't really view that youngster as the lead person.
Well, and a lot of times when you have kids in a home with a dog, that dog feels a sense of protection and all of that for the kids. So, you leave them alone like that and put them in a situation where that kid doesn't know how to handle it. That dog's going to definitely take charge in whatever way.
Well, and two, I think not just that aspect of it, but also teaching your children to be respectful of the dog.
Right.
You don't really ride a dog like a horse. They're not a horse.
No.
It's hard on their hips, their backs. I don't care how big they are. It's just not that good for them. Pulling on ears for tails. That's just really not nice. I would not do that to my kids.
Right, yeah.
And so I wouldn't do it to a dog. And to expect a dog to just be tolerant of that is really not acceptable.
And it's really not fair to the dog because they love you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not nice.
No, it's just
so
unacceptable. So when you're, in the instance that was brought before me this week, it does sound like there's a lot of kids in the house and it's a little bit chaotic. And, some of the things that you can work on with that is to provide the dog with a safe place, somewhere that they can go and feel comfortable, somewhere that is, I automatically think of a crate, but some dogs have little areas in the house that are their spot. At my house, Elsa likes to go lay on the couch in my office, away from the other dogs. That's just kind of her kind of quiet place to be. Every dog every dog owner has their own situation, but I think it's important to provide that that kind of sanctuary for a dog so they can get a break from the family. I mean, I wouldn't want to be with me all the time.
Well, dogs need a break from us too, just as much as we need them in time out once in a while too. So,
right.
It's honestly mutual respect with your pets. That some people might not agree with that, but you should.
Right. So, to kind of decrease some of the chaos and give them that sanctuary is really a good idea. I think also to identify it. If it's not an issue of the kids being chaotic, another thing that is to be kind of looked at is even the adults in the house. Are they providing the training time, working with the dog on burning off some of that energy? And if they aren't applying themselves to the dog, then the chances are the dog isn't really being set up for success in dealing with a lot of kids running around a house.
Right.
And they don't have a go-to person, that lead person, the person that provides safety to them as well. So it's important for the adults to be just totally committed to making it work as well. And the idea of just getting rid of a dog, rehoming them, I think it becomes kind of like, as the situation escalates with the destruction of, toys, furniture, clothing, shoes, I think as that kind of continues, the dog doesn't really have a go-to person. So it's important that the parents or the adult in the house has that bond with the dog to create the security.
Well, and you can't expect the kids to teach the dog just by putting that dog in the situation, because they don't know how to react to what the kids are doing. And the kids aren't teaching them anything except for this is how they act. You're not giving the dog a direction on how to, when the kid is pulling on, you need to say to the kid, no, we don't do that, and give the dog some direction on, because kids are not the go-to.
Generally, they're not.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of people are, sometimes they're first-time pet owners and they're still learning it. So to just kind of let a dog raise itself in the middle of a family where there's, busy schedules, kids in activities, new babies coming into the house, whatever it might be, the dog can't just know how they should be, and they don't have a place that they can go, if you're not providing an office space.
Right.
Which is a little extreme, but Elsa does love the office.
She does.
But a crate, even some people make a little den under stairs, things along those lines. Some people are even making little nooks in their kitchens for dogs to lay in. I think that is super cool.
I think it is too. It was kind of a happy accident, but Jim kind of has a cubby in my movie stand under my TV, so wasn't made that way, but that's kind of how it is right now.
So that's why you have a pillow in with your movies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't take a nap in there. But he loves being a part of things and still being out of the way of the other dogs where, he does get overwhelmed and cranky.
Well, and if, dogs are getting overwhelmed with dogs, I can imagine when they don't know how to communicate with people as well as they do a dog, that can be also super overwhelming.
Yep.
So there's just a lot of things that you have to really think about and put into place when you're working with a dog that's destructive. And like for some of the things that are going on with them, some of it can be boredom. Maybe it's not the chaos of a family. Maybe they just need more time, out running or
better chew toys, even something that keeps them a little busier.
Well, and we've talked about it before, just the mind games. They have interactive toys for dogs that make them think a little bit more. And actually thinking mind games for dogs are actually more exhausting for them than chasing a ball, because they have to actually apply themselves to what they're doing.
And those are great too, because you can really get the kids involved in that, and in that sense too, you've got a more organized way to kind of teach both of them without it being like a strict setting necessarily. Everybody's kind of having a good time, doing something fun. And
well, when Tori's little boy was small, I started doing a 3 cups upside down on the floor, and then he'd put a treat under one. And what you're supposed to do is mix them up and let the dog actually find where the treat is.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, excuse me, he did it totally wrong.
Yeah.
And the dog did it totally wrong.
Yeah.
But you know what? They were on the floor playing together, interacting, and they had a blast.
Yeah, they did. They loved it.
So it's not really about doing it perfectly correct, but just that you're having that interaction with the dog, whether you're 3 years old or 30.
Well, and with kids, they're probably not going to do it right. So just keep that in mind too. Don't get frustrated if things aren't going exactly how they should, because, well, it might not.
Gotta roll with those punches.
That's right.
But so boredom is something that you got to think about. Are you, giving them what they need as far as, and actually to just let them run in the yard is not really all that exhausting as much as, taking them out on a leash, making them sit and walk with you and behave a little bit, makes them put a little bit more thought process into it.
Well, and I can let, my dogs out and they'll run and they come back in and run and run. So it doesn't slow them down that much, really. So
She's nailing her rugs down in the house.
yeah, it's getting bad.
Another thing that can be a possible problem is health issues.
Yes.
I don't know if that really applies to like destructive behavior, but we were actually talking a little bit about like thyroid problems and allergies.
Yep.
Sometimes those can kind of get a dog a little bit out of whack, and they'll be chewing on things that they shouldn't be chewing on, even themselves.
Yep.
So,
yes.
Some things to look for is not eating or eating too much or drinking excessively. It's just really something that you got to pay attention to what your dog's giving you as signs, and that will help you identify what their cause is for the destruction.
Right. And there can that's very often that some dogs do develop these behaviors, and that is, you do have to kind of process of elimination. Why is this happening all of a sudden?
Mm-hmm.
Is it something I've given them? Is it, have you changed food? Is it some environmental thing? It could be, we got it.
Wait. Enzo's dreaming.
I think he's after it.
Yeah, he's sleep running and woofing
Yes.
quietly.
So if you hear that, it's
Just Enzo with his input.
yeah, he's okay.
Yeah. General anxiety is also a cause of it. And, the thing I find when I'm looking through all this stuff is there's a few things that just kind of keep repeating themselves. And, crate training, having doggy daycare, having someone who actually does dog walking come in a couple times a day and take them out for a walk. The thing is for each and every issue as far as destructive behavior goes or anxiety, a lot of the stuff that you would use to correct it is very similar.
Right.
And you just have to look at the tools and the ideas in front of you and figure out which one applies to the particular problem. Dogs can actually get stressed out too.
Yeah.
Where they're just on overload. I remember watching a Cesar Millan,
Oh yeah.
and I don't really watch that show a whole lot, but he was talking about a dog that was a cell phone. For prisons that searched for cell phones,
Oh sure.
and the dog worked quite a lot, I guess. And Cesar Millan said this dog needs a vacation.
Yeah. He needs a break, man.
And you don't think about it. You just think the dog is doing its thing, but sometimes they do get overly stressed out. Sometimes changes in the environment, whether someone's moving into the house or moving out of the house, or your work schedule changes where they don't understand that you're going to be gone at night instead of the day. Or if you go on vacation and leave them with people they're not familiar with. So, stress can cause a lot of problems as well.
Well, and one of my dogs, even something that happens with Jim that I didn't really know was a thing. When he gets overly stressed, something's a big change. We moved a couple years ago here, and he lost almost all his hair. It was the craziest thing. I was like, he's going bald, and he's Shiba Inu, so he's very hairy. And, I was talking to Mom, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and he was just stressed out.
Yep.
It came back. He was okay. But, you just really have to pay attention to all that.
So if they're destructive, that can even be a stress level.
Yeah.
Just kind of coming on. Also, you want to watch your younger dogs. Are they teething? And if they are teething, you want to make sure they're chewing on the right things so they don't develop the bad habits down the road.
And they have to, when they're puppies like that and they're teething, they're going to find something to chew on. So when they're at that stage, you kind of got to just invest in some stuff.
Sometimes they chew on you.
Yeah, had that happen.
You know, I did used to work at a rescue, and one thing that we used there for dogs that had, you know, separation anxiety, stress, you know, when they'd be coming into the facility, you know, they'd come from a home into a kennel where there's, you know, 50 dogs barking and carrying on, and it was really stressful for some of them, and what we used for them was a Thunder shirt.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure most of you are familiar with them, but they're just a nice snug wrapping thing. It looks like a little dog coat, but it fits snugly around them.
Okay.
And that actually is very effective.
I wish they would have had that when we had Ivan.
They didn't have one big enough.
I know. He's big.
Ivan was a Great Pyrenees that
He was huge.
the kids grew up with. He was quite large, but he did not. And the Thunder shirts, they say, like during the 4th of July when you have firecrackers going and you know, parades going by your house or whatever, you know, any kind of loud event they're supposed to be really helpful for. But what we found was dogs that had anxiety, you can wear them during the day, you know, take them off at night so they can relax and be comfortable. But, you know, when they're in a situation that's high stress, the Thunder shirt works really well. And to start with, you'd want to take it off a couple times a day so that they, you know, can get a break from it. But, and then off at night again, but it's pretty effective. I found, let's see.
I've also heard that aromatherapy with the essential oils sometimes helps too.
You know, I don't think I ever told you this, but I had some of that aromatherapy spray that you sprayed around is supposed to calm the dogs.
Yeah.
And I would spray it around the living room before the grandkids would come over.
Oh, yeah. Well, they might chew on it. Those are some crazy boys.
I wasn't worried about the chewing. It was supposed to calm them down, but it didn't work for the kids.
Dang it. So it is species specific, huh?
Yeah. So, anyhow.
Those boys are so much fun and so full of energy.
A lot of energy.
Yes. Oh, man. I have to
don't tell Travis I
put some lavender around their neck or something.
Anyhow, but yeah, aromatherapy is a really a nice idea, and I think you have to kind of, again, do what works for your dog in your situation. They also have a pheromone spray.
Okay, yeah.
That is supposed to be effective for animals specifically. And I've not used that before, but they have, are they called infusers that you plug into the wall?
Oh,
and
yeah.
It, puts the...
diffuser, I think.
A
Is
diffuser?
It a diffuser? Yeah.
Yeah, so they have those for the pheromones. They have... And you might even be able to find something like that for... well, you got the other kind that plug in.
Yeah.
And you could use probably that for those.
I think you could use
aromatherapy for the dogs.
Yep. Yeah. You could get Walmart even.
Mm-hmm.
Any.
Yeah.
I think any of them work.
That's a really nice idea, and it smells good too.
I love my house smelling nice, so if that's, one way to do it, heck yeah. I'm all about it. So.
Well, and just so you know that when we're talking about destructive dogs, they don't always have anxiety.
Right.
I mean, sometimes they're naughty.
Sometimes
they just have to be taught what is okay and what is not. So
right.
We're not saying all your dogs out there that are chewing on a table leg have anxiety, but
they're probably happy as a lark, some of them. But
But boy, I think there's a little chicken left on that table leg.
I can smell it.
Another tip that I think is, I was looking on Chewy one day, and they had a squeaky toy that looked like a remote.
Oh, mm-mm.
And I thought, oh, that is asking for trouble.
You're never going to have a remote intact again.
I was kind of shocked at that. So I would probably avoid, toys that look like a shoe, a remote.
Anything you don't want them eating,
Right.
pretty much.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep it away from that. So,
Well, and my brother has let dogs chew on some like old shoes he doesn't wear, and now there are dogs that think that's what they're supposed to chew on.
well, I put my shoes up on top of a 6-foot bookshelf now.
Yeah, so just, you don't have to, but this could be you. Okay?
Yeah. This could be a kind of a problem.
Yeah. So
Also, they have they have sprays that you can get. Like I think they're apple cider.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
I don't know what they are, but some of those sprays you're supposed to be able to spritz around, and it deters them from chewing on things. I at one time had some dogs. This was many, many years ago. I had some dogs. It was a brother and a sister, and they were probably my most destructive dogs. I was told they were part wolf. I'm not sure that that's accurate, but they were definitely different than any other dog I had. And I have a porch that had a enclosed area. They could go out a dog door and be outside, and that entire porch, I had Tabasco sauce
yeah.
all over the pipes, the washing machine, anything that they were tearing up. I was like out there shaking that Tabasco sauce on it,
Oh my gosh.
and it did deter them.
Uh-huh.
They didn't like it.
What did it smell like out there?
It smelled like an old Mexican restaurant. It
I
was
bet.
awful.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Well, yeah, they were trying to eat the whole porch, so it was.
Yeah, they took some walls down.
Yeah.
Some stuff like that. But so Tabasco sauce does work.
Mm-hmm.
Not the most pleasant smelling, and it is water soluble, so you can't really use it outside.
Yeah.
So that is an idea. One idea that, we were talking earlier if I should even mention it or not, but one suggestion I got was to get another pet, dog or cat, to be a companion to the destructive dog. That's a really nice idea.
Yes. Lovely. Lovely.
And, what dog wouldn't love a friend?
Heck yeah.
But there are some problems with that.
There are. It could backfire. You want them to learn from each other and say, oh, I've got a buddy and all this, but, they do learn from each other.
And sometimes the new dog is not the influencer.
Right.
Sometimes the naughty dog kind of teaches a few bad habits to the new one.
Yes.
So that's something you have to take into consideration. I mean, it is an effective way to handle it, but the owner has got to be like 1,000% on board for making it work, and that means paying attention to not one dog, but two.
Yeah.
And then not training one dog, but training two dogs.
Right.
And also helping them to interact with each other in a healthy way.
Well, and that just goes, it's the same thing as what we were talking about in the beginning, too. It's with the kids, too. You can't just put them together and expect them to just do a good job and, be how they're supposed to be, because they're animals. They don't get how they're supposed to. You have to teach them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is true. And I think, I don't think that if you're working, you can't have a dog. I'm not saying that, but I think you have to really apply yourself a little extra when you are at home. You can't, go to the bar after work or go hang out with friends, or, you have to make sure that, okay, you work a job, you can't be there all the time. I totally get that. But then that means that your downtime from your job means that you do have to apply yourself to the dogs and teaching them, because they can't just automatically know right and wrong.
Right. Which if you can't, maybe having a pet isn't for you. There's nothing wrong with that, but
Well, there, you could get a fish.
sure, yeah.
Or
They don't even
or
something. What else doesn't? A bug. People have bugs for pets.
oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but there's got to be some other animals
Sure.
out there that are low maintenance. Maybe a turtle. I don't know, a turtle or something like that.
We're dog people, so that's kind of what we.
Yeah, Travis has a snake, and I think they only have to feed it once a week.
Oh, well, there you go.
They give it a dead mouse, once a week.
Well, I've thought about getting a snake for my son, but I don't know about those dead mice in my house either.
Well, they buy them frozen.
I think that's, yeah.
Reptile store or something. I don't know. But I wouldn't want to do that either. But they only require once a week feeding, so that's an option for someone that really doesn't want to spend time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, I don't think I'd want to cuddle with one of them.
No, unless you want to not wake up. I don't know.
Apparently we're not talking about garter snakes.
Yeah, I don't know if they sell those.
But anyhow, so yeah, these are things that are just some suggestions we have. And I really hope when people are thinking about rehoming dogs, they don't look at it as an easy out. I really would like to know that people who are doing that are thinking of it as a last resort, like they just are at their wits' end. And even you can discuss it with dog trainers. They can work with you with the dog or just give you some advice. Some will do that for you. But there's no reason, that you should just want to, unless you really just don't want the dog, I just don't, it's kind of beyond my comprehension as to why people just want to get rid of a dog.
Well, and that's, how sad is that? They've got a life with you, they love you, they don't know what's going on, and because they haven't been taught properly, they're being sent, where am I going? What's happening? It's...
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, and I do hope that if, you have that situation that you don't get another dog until you're at a point in your life where you feel like you can be 100% committed to making it work. Yeah. I was watching I think it was a show called Bad Dog.
Oh, that is a show, yeah.
And it was just showing all these dogs doing naughty things. And there was a yellow lab that this young couple had purchased. Every time they came home, plants were torn up, books were down, eaten, torn up. It was funny because the only book that wasn't torn up was a Bible.
Oh.
And I thought, that's a spiritual dog.
Yeah, that dog knows what's up.
But when that couple started having kids, the dog quit being destructive.
Oh.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know, but that's adorable.
Yeah, so they just love the dog to bits, and they said they were so glad they, worked through the destruction, and I thought that was really interesting, that something about bringing the babies into the house, the dog stopped doing it.
That dog has some purpose now.
Yeah, I guess.
He's got something to do.
I'm busy with the babies. I can't be tearing shit up.
Yeah, she's going to have to clean it up and be mad, and I got to take care of the kids. Yes.
So, dogs are always an adventure, that's for sure.
I think, again, I will say it all the time. I think everyone should have one.
Or four. That's what Tori would say. So thanks for joining us for Real Talk Dog Talk. If you would like to email us with any questions or suggestions, it's realtalkdogtalk@yahoo.com. And we do love to get any kind of suggestions so we can entertain you a little bit more according to what you want to hear.
We hope you have a good weekend, and we will hopefully see you next week.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.